What's up, everybody? Thank you guys for joining us for episode 4 of Robert Garcia Unfiltered. Pita, my dad right here. First of all, I want to start by saying we're sorry we couldn't go live this week. We had some problems with the Wi-Fi when we got to when we were in Mexico, so we couldn't connect the laptop to the Wi-Fi. And then today, the same thing. We're having problems with the laptop, so we couldn't go live. But we promise we'll be live next week. So this one's a pre-recorded episode. Yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. It was a big week in boxing. We had 3 days of fights: Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Tuesday we had obviously Joshua Franco, the main event. We had scheduled Joseph Adorno on the undercard. Biggie had a fight on the undercard as well that got canceled. Thursday's card with what was it? What was Maloney? What was the brother's name? It was Andrew and Jason Maloney. We had Jason Maloney, the 118 pounder. Beating Baez, a Golden Boy fighter. Then we had Saturday, Vergil from Mexico. We'll go backwards. We'll start with Vergil because we want to finish off with talking about Josh. That one, the one we're going to talk to the most about Josh. We were in Mexico watching that fight. What'd you think of Vergil, first of all, and then his opponent?
Well, look, I think it was one of those stay busy fights. It wasn't a title defense. He fought to stay busy. I'm pretty sure the money wasn't the same as if he would have defended his title. But it's one of those fights where, you know, right now in boxing, the way boxing is, those are the fights that fighters need to take. You know, we've seen a lot of in the most recent and the most talked about case is Ryan Garcia. You know, he didn't want to take a fight for what, like 250 or something like that.
Yeah.
And now look, now he's not fighting. Now he hasn't fight. He's not going to fight in July. Looks like maybe not even in August. So he has to wait. I think right now this guys like Vergil, you know, they're doing the smart thing. I think
Vergil, Shakur,
Shakur did the same thing, and Shakur is a very, very talented fighter. Maybe
one of the top ranked young world champs.
As soon as you know, sooner than later, he'll probably be in the pound for pound list. Yeah. And he took just a 10-round fight just to stay busy. I'm sure the money wasn't the same, but he had to. You know, Vergil did the same thing. So did Navarrete. A week earlier, Navarrete did the same thing. Took a quick
stay
busy fight. You know, am I one that probably criticized the opponent that I was, especially the one Navarrete had. I think Navarrete, you know, they even talked about it in the
sparring partner.
He was the sparring partner for his last 2 fights. You know, guy that's 13-13. You know, I think they could have picked somebody better for a stay busy fight, somebody that would give him a little more competition. It was just a fight that, you know, after 3 or 4 rounds, I stopped watching it because I thought it was pretty embarrassing just to watch that, a world champion, you know, not defending himself, but having a fight, which I said, you know, stay busy fight. Yeah, you could pick the right opponent, but not somebody that's 13-13 and it was, you know, it was just like a sparring match. They were just touching each other. You know, I think that shouldn't have happened. Then, you know, a week later was Vergil. Vergil's opponent was pretty tough. Vergil, at least the opponent tried. He was in there, hanging in there, even though he also had 13 losses, but he had a lot more wins, and he was more of the type of fighter that was going to cost you, you know, to beat him. You know, it wasn't going to be one that is there just to get a little payday and to work something out with his friend. You know, I think, but look, those are the stay busy fights. Other fighters are not doing it, but they're not fighting.
Yeah, like Renee, you said about Ryan. Ryan was offered a few dates. We were with Hector offered those dates, and for whatever reason they didn't happen. And another thing was today. It was actually worked out that we did the show today instead of yesterday, because today they announced Vergil's fight, they announced the co-main event, then they announced Linares. So we'll get into that a little bit later. But that was Saturday's card with Vergil. I don't think there was much on the undercard. Well, the co-main event was Pollo.
Yeah, but it was just like a 30
quick,
second,
30 second knockout.
Pollo's a very talented fighter, but you know, he didn't show much. A lot of people that have heard about him, and maybe a lot of people haven't. You know, we didn't get to see much. We already know the kid from since his pro debut, and he's a very talented kid. Pollo is doing good with his father and Fernando Beltran. They're doing a good job promoting him.
Thursdays, we're going backwards. Thursday's show had the brother Jason Maloney versus Leonardo Baez. What'd you think of the Maloney brother that won?
Well, look, it wasn't easy for him, especially 2 days earlier when his brother had lost. His brother had lost the title, and there was such a big deal about both of them coming from Australia, and everybody was talking about them being the next superstars and everything, and for him to go in the ring 2 days after his brother got beat, I'm sure it wasn't easy, but look, he showed that he has a heart, and he showed that he left all that behind and he focused on his fight. He did a great job, looked really good, fought very, very good. I think he fought really good. It was like a 1 or 2 week notice opponent. Like
2 week notice.
The opponent was a 2 week notice.
It was supposed to be Navarrete. Navarrete tested. Didn't test. He had a detached retina.
No, but it wasn't Navarrete.
Negrete.
It was Negrete. I think Negrete would have probably give him a surprise too, because Negrete is a very, very tough fighter, throws a lot of punches, and I think that would have been a much better fight. I think Baez came in 2 week notice and wasn't able to do much. I think Maloney took control of the fight and ended up stopping him. I don't know what round was it, like
eighth, ninth round.
He ended up stopping him, but he did what he had to do. One thing that you do have to give him credit for is for not letting his brother's loss affect him in the fight, and I think he did a great job.
Yeah, because that's one of the first things that at least that I told. I remember we were driving back from Vegas after Josh's fight, and I told you it must be fucked up right now for being the brother. I was like, seeing his brother, who's the one that Josh beat is the world champ. Andrew's the world champ. Jason watching his brother, who like he said, I've watched my brother train hard for this world title fight, win his world title, and then in his first defense, like you said, they made a big deal about him coming to the United States, and he loses his first title defense. So the brother, Jason, knows that his brother goes to the hospital. He has to go to the gym and go cut weight because his weigh-in's the next morning.
Yep.
So he has to go cut weight. He's worried about his brother, I'm sure. Not just worried, but then he sees his brother lose. It's for their first time in the United States. The brother loses. I'm sure he went in there really nervous. I remember when they were announcing when they were doing the ring, the name, the ring announcer was announcing the names and stuff. They go Leonardo Baez into Maloney. He was taking like these really deep breaths. He looked like he was really, really nervous.
Well, yeah, I'm sure it was something that definitely had to be in his head. Good for him. He fought well and fought smart. I'm pretty sure he followed instructions from his cornerman and ended up with a win. Like I'm telling you, I think if it would have been Negrete, Negrete that was training for a month and a half, 2 months, getting ready for the fight, it might have been a different story.
Yeah.
So things happen for a reason. The kid look good, and now he's going to continue fighting here in the United States, and I'm sure the brother will too. Even though he lost his title, but he'll be back.
Then Tuesday's card, obviously that's Josh, the main event, but a little bit on the undercard, we had Joseph Adorno fighting that was scheduled to fight on the undercard. We had Big E, who was also scheduled, but both fights were canceled. Big E's because they couldn't get an opponent in time. Just like today, they announced today that the kid from Milwaukee, that Top Rank, just signed. That was supposed to be turning pro. They couldn't get him an opponent, so they had to move his fight a little bit. It's kind of tough getting opponents right now. But that was Big E. Then Adorno's fight. Adorno goes in, weighs a pound over. They try to negotiate with the opponent, see if they can still make the fight happen. Didn't happen, so Adorno's fight gets scratched. What a little bit of information on the Adorno.
Well, look. First of all, Big E had just fought a week before, and Brad and Carl told us, hey, can he fight on Tuesday again? So we were ready. It was tough that they couldn't find the right opponent, and they did have an opponent that they were trying to get him to sign the contract, but the opponent, something like, he said he didn't want to fight if he's not 100%. If he's not 100% already, like Brad said, man, maybe he should think about being 30% because I don't even know what his record was.
He said the guy was 10-6, and the guy told Brad Goodman, he said no, I'm not 100% right now, and Brad said at 100% this guy's 10-6. Maybe he should try to fight at 30%.
Yeah, so bottom line is the fight didn't happen. Big E's still training, and we'll have a date for him soon. He's in the gym, and I'm pretty sure within the next few weeks, the month of July, he'll be back in fighting. Joseph Adorno, look, It was a little surprising, a little maybe upsetting for me, for the team. Let's go back to training camp. 2 to 3 weeks before training camp, Joseph Adorno comes to training camp here in Riverside for the first time, and after the first week and a half, he started losing weight very easy. He started sparring, at Tanajaras, guys like that in my gym. He sparred Vergil Ortiz, getting that type of sparring. So he was the one that was actually cutting weight easier than anybody else.
Yeah.
Joshua was also cutting weight, and he was the easiest one cutting weight.
He was having the least trouble.
The least trouble, yeah, there you go. The least trouble cutting weight. His weight was coming up easily, with Chef Chan cooking for him and all the guys. The weight was coming up easy, There was a conversation I had with the dad that the dad told me, look, the weight's coming up so easy. He's never been that light before, 2 weeks before the fight. He only has like 6 pounds to go. So next fight, can you please tell Brad Goodman, next fight we want it at 133?
Yeah.
And then the following fight at 130, because we believe that's where he belongs. He belongs at 130. Well, that's the way. So I told Brad. So that's the first thing I told Brad. Brad, he's cutting weight so easy, really easy. So let's do this fight at 135. But next fight is gonna be at 133 and then 130, because that's where he belongs. And now he's gonna be doing training camps in Riverside. So Brad was happy. Everybody was happy. Everybody was happy. He was looking good, sharp, fast, strong, and cutting weight with no problem. But then come the day of the weigh-in, I wasn't there. You were with them when they were cutting weight. The day before the weigh-in, for some reason, he just couldn't lose that last pound and a half or whatever.
It was just 1 pound.
It was just 1 pound. So come the day of the weigh-in, he's 1 pound overweight, and the opponent just wasn't willing to accept that 1 pound. I don't know how much money they took from the purse or maybe from the promoter, but all I know is that they did put a weight class for the next day. The weight classes, I could say I'm not one of those that's okay with those. A lot of fighters have done it, the weight classes, well, Mayweather has done it, Canelo has done it, where they have to weigh certain weight, and then the next day they can gain an X amount of pounds. They've done it. A lot of them have done it. But in this situation, Adorno's opponent, Del Bosque, at first they wanted him to weigh 140.
140. That's when I was there.
140 the following day by 1 p.m.
So the fight was scheduled at 135. Adorno came in at 136. So they wanted him to gain 4 pounds for the next day, but not just the next day. They wanted it to be at 2 p.m., which is basically the time we had to be at the arena. So when we were there, we had actually said no right away. Like, at least I had said, I was like, no, like if we're gonna plan on, if you guys actually want to make the fight happen, I was like, then we have to be able to. There has to be some wiggle room. There has something give and take. Like, it has to be fair. We can't. He's not gonna only gain 4 pounds by tomorrow at 2 p.m. That's just not gonna happen. And we didn't think the fight was gonna happen. But then I think they switched this to 142. Then
a few hours later, I think it was when I got there. I got there that the same night. We talked and they agreed that he could win at 142 at 1 p.m. 142. So that's 6 pounds. 6 pounds more than what he had weighed. It's still not a lot. It's still taking.
And they instead of 2 p.m. they said 1 p.m.
1 p.m. There you go. At 1 p.m. 6 pounds by 1 p.m.
And Joseph was gonna fight right before Josh, so he actually didn't have to be at the locker room as early as we thought. Right. So it was actually
so I thought, look, how much does he weigh right now? And the dad told me I think he was 144. Something like that. 144, somewhere around there. 144, 146, no more than 146. So I said, look, well then if he's 146, to be 142, I think he was after he had already drank a lot of water and after he had already ate, because I had no idea that from what the dad told me is that he hadn't ate nothing, but before that Josh had told me that he had dinner with him.
Yeah, something like not dinner. I think they ate
after the weigh-in. After the weigh-in, Josh told me that they ate together. That he had a big plate of lasagna.
Yeah, something like that.
Pasta or something. So I figured, okay, so you already ate. You're 144. By tomorrow, I think you sleep off 2 pounds, walk off 1 or 2, and then make weight.
And then eat after that. We can still eat after that.
But and then after the weigh-in, you can still go. So I'm like, you know what? Maybe it's
possible.
It's possible, Maybe it's possible. So I talked to Adorno. I talked to the dad, but the dad told me no, he hasn't ate nothing. I said, but Josh told me you guys had, you ate after the weigh-in. You guys ate together. Oh, but he threw up.
Yeah, he got to the.
So then the point was, because they showed me videos that he was throwing up. So it wasn't more about he hadn't ate nothing. He just couldn't keep anything in his system. Just didn't have anything in his system. That's what it was. He didn't have anything in his system because he threw up everything he ate. So honestly, if we let's go back and say, okay, the guy's accept 136, no problem. He was still gonna eat. He's still gonna get sick anyways. Yeah, so he was still gonna call the fight off anyways because.
He ended up in the hospital.
He ended up in the hospital when, before we found out that he was in the hospital. I had a meeting. I met with the father, with Del Bosque's father, and the trainer, and we had a good talk. And they agreed that they would take the fight. I convinced them that they would, to take the fight
at any weight.
At any weight, yeah. They agreed that they will take the fight, no matter at whatever weight he comes in, they'll still take the fight. As soon as I called Carl Moretti, I said, Carl, they accept, the fight's on, tell ESPN, everything's good. He's like, great, Robert, thanks, whatever. But then less than 10 minutes later, he calls me, and Carl tells me, Robert, did you know the nurse? The nurse is in Joseph's room right now. I'm like, why would she be in the room? I have no idea. I'm like, he's like, well, fine. Can you find out? So I tried calling Brad to see if Brad knew anything. He had no idea what was going on. Then Carl calls me back. 2 minutes later, they're taking him to the hospital. So now that's where I'm like, oh fuck, then that means there's no fight. If he's going to the hospital. So the dad sent me videos.
The day of the fight already.
The day of the fight. So the dad did send me videos of him throwing up in the toilet. He was throwing up. So
he just couldn't retain anything.
He just couldn't retain anything anymore. He got sick. So even after the opposite team accepted the fight, and there was no way the fight was gonna happen. Like I said, even after the weigh-in, he would still got sick because he didn't cut weight. He didn't try. He ate, but then started throwing up right away. So I don't think I think it was just he just got sick. Something made him sick, and the fight just couldn't happen. I do disagree with some comments saying that he should move up to 140. He does not belong at 140 at all. He's not a 140 pounder. Like I told you guys earlier. 2 weeks before the fight, we were talking about him fighting at 130 because his weight was cutting so easy, drinking a lot of water and eating really good with Chef Chan, and his dad's, I'm not the one saying it, his dad's the one who told me, you know what, the weight's so easy, he only has like 5 pounds and we still got like 2 weeks before the fight, so next fight we got to do 133 and then we got to bring him down to 130 because that's where he belongs. And we agreed. I told Brad was happy about it, but come the day, things changed the day of the weigh-in. Now some people are thinking he should fight 140. I disagree. I really don't know what's going to happen. I haven't talked to him. I'm letting them, decide what they want to do first before making any decisions myself. But I disagree. I think he at least 135. But there's already second or third time that he doesn't make 135. So it's something he's got to really make a decision to see what he really wants to do.
We had like I said, all this is going on the day of the fight. We couldn't really do much because we had Josh in the main event. Josh fighting Andrew Maloney for the WBA 115 title. Last week's episode, Big G gave us some. We get happy now a little bit when Big G kind of
when he's a little negative.
Yeah. So just a backstory on that. Whenever the Big G is, in a way you could say, nervous for a fight,
a little negative.
When he's a little negative about it, or just like doesn't like, he's like a little hesitant on giving us like his full we're like, you guys, it kind of like we usually win those fights. It started, you said, with the Maidana fight, right? Where Maidana was gonna fight, not even the Mayweather fight, he was gonna fight Broner, and he, before you left, he told you something like what do you say?
Big fight to
it's
be
a big
part
fight
of,
to be part of, but you know, just like don't expect don't get discouraged if he loses or whatever. And Maidana pulled it off then, and with Abner Cuellar, he was really worried about Cuellar's power. He's like, look, Cuellar hits really hard and this and that, like the same thing kind of, and then Abner beat him. And this one, the same thing again. Last week on the episode, he was talking to us about how...
It wasn't about the power, it was more about Top Rank.
Yes, he told us, he's like, look, Top Rank is the best at protecting their fighters. If they called you guys for Josh to fight, it's because they're really confident in their guy, and because you guys have to kill the guy to get a decision. And that's what he was worried about. He didn't worry so much, because he sees Josh at the gym. He's always told us that Josh and Bam are going to be world champs, and he's always told us the best. But he was worried about that part of it. And Josh goes in there. I don't know how you felt going into the fight, but the week leading up to the fight, when it's finally hitting me, like we're in Vegas and it's like we got there Saturday, so it's hitting me like, holy shit, Josh is about to fight for a world title. Every time I would think about the fight, I would get nervous. My stomach, I would get I don't know if it was butterflies or I just felt like throwing up. Like I would get really, really nervous about it. Not so much because I kept telling you, the more I watched about the Maloney, the more I thought Josh is gonna beat this guy up like bad. Like there's nothing this guy does better than Josh. But the fact that we were gonna be in a world title fight with Josh, who is the first one from the group to get a world title fight, that's the reason I was more nervous than anything. And then he goes in there and just dominates the fight. The scorecards were really, really close, but Josh pretty much won the majority of the rounds. And even then, just because of the knockdown, he won the fight. If not, it would have been a draw. But talk us a little bit about going into the fight, what it was like. First of all, him also signing the contract for the fight, because it's a big deal just to fight for a world title. But then him actually going in there and winning the world title, being from that group. Because I'll talk a little bit about it right now, what it felt like for me.
Well, look, but going back to my dad was right. He was right from what he told us, and that kind of gave us a little more like,
Well, we left, you told me you're like, Big G's kind of skeptical about this one, so we got it.
Look, Big G called it. He said, look, you guys are going in against a top-ranked fighter on a top-ranked card. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be very hard. He did tell us, and he said it on the show we had. So look, exactly like he said it. That's what happened. You know, the good thing about Josh is he was in such a good shape. You know, we got to give credit to Chepe and Charles, because you know Charles does such a great job with all the fighters. Look, he's been doing it for over 10 years with Jose Ramirez, and everybody knows how strong Jose is. Jose never gets tired. He does get tired, but he says I do get tired too. But it's all in here and here. Yeah. You know, that's what he says. And it's true. He says, but look, all the work Charles has done with them is proof of what Jose's been able to do in the fights. And now working with all my fighters,
especially Josh, Hector.
Especially Josh right now, who fought for the title. Josh could have done 15 rounds without getting tired. Yep. He was strong up until the 12th round. And I remember when Josh lost his fight in Puerto Rico, he dominated the whole fight. I think it was a bullshit stoppage. I think after the fight, I got calls from Robert Diaz and telling me it was bullshit. You know, it was just a quick stoppage to favor the guy. You know, he's not from Puerto Rico, but he lives in Puerto Rico, so favor the guy from the local guy. Anyways, but he did tell us. But you know what? My legs, I was getting tired. The last 2 rounds,
the fight was stopped in the 9th round. He said like after like the 6th, he felt his legs really
he
tired.
He felt his legs tired.
But the thing is, he didn't say anything. So in the corner, you kept telling him
because I told him, how you feel?
He's
Good.
Yeah.
So that's why I kept pushing him. But that's why the fighters have to trust their trainer, believe in the trainer. I would have told him, okay, you're dominating. You already dropped the guy a couple of times. You already have him all beat up. Just move around and win the decision. Things happen for a reason. He didn't win that fight. He got stopped, and look, now he's a world champion. But yeah, this time I wasn't worried. The first 2 rounds, it was more of a, he was just feeling.
I think it was just the first round, kind of, because the second round he already started.
Even in the second round, he already started landing some good shots. But let's say the first 2 rounds, he was there blocking, feeling his opponent out. Right after the second round, we stayed in the corner, and he told me, that's all the guy. We already learned what the guys. He can't do much. He can't do anything better. We know Josh is gonna do better. So Josh started picking it up. I think it was more like a 8 to 4.
Yeah.
But
I watched it in Cabo. I watched it like 15, 20 times. I've seen it so many times already.
There's no way it was a 6 to 6. 6 rounds to 6.
I had it like 9-3, if anything.
6 rounds to 6 was ridiculous, but remember, we were fighting at a top ranked card, and we were the underdogs. All that plays a big part. A few days before that, what's his name? DeMarco.
Oh yeah,
DeMarco.
The Thursday before that,
DeMarco clearly won his fight, and he didn't get the decision. Yeah. So it's not the first time that we see decisions like that. When you're fighting on a promoter's house, you have to really beat up on your opponent. And even though Josh beat him up, if he wouldn't have dropped him, he would have been a draw, and Josh wouldn't have become champion. And I think that would have been ridiculous. That would have been a real bad decision. But luckily, he got the knockdown and pulled off the win and became champion of the world. Man, from
like you said, or you were talking before you go into what it means for him to become world champ. You were talking a little bit about how that change happened in between rounds, where we kind of said, let's back him up, because going into the fight, we've seen the videos. We had seen videos of Maloney, and like I said, the closer the fight got, the more we watched Maloney, and the more we were watching what Josh was doing in sparring and in training and the good shape he was in, we kept saying, there's no way this guy's gonna beat Josh. But we were saying Josh is gonna outbox him. We were gonna say Josh is gonna outbox him, because this guy put a lot of pressure, and a lot of his fights, he had a lot of stoppages late in fights. Where
good body shots.
Nice body shots, or he had a nice left hook where he would stop guys late in fights. Mm-hmm. He carried his power through the rounds, and we thought, okay, this guy's gonna be dangerous the whole time, but we might have to box him. But I remember at the weigh-in, I was at the weigh-in, you were at the gym, and I saw the frame, his frame, like he looked a lot smaller. I remember his hands, his wrists, and when he was getting wrapped up, as soon as he got wrapped up, I came back to the locker room. That was the first thing I told you guys. I told you, Jesse, Josh was already had his wraps on. He started shadowboxing, and I saw Josh's back, and he just looked big and ripped up. He looked strong, and Maloney looked really small and fragile. Like his hands, his back, everything. He looked really small. And then like 3rd, 4th round, we said no, back him up. And that's where the fight changed.
That's where after the first 2-3 rounds, we said it to ourselves in the corner. That's all that guy's gonna. That's all he has. He's got nothing different. That's all. He already showed us all the power. He already showed us what he could do. And Josh told us, no, I don't feel anything. So we're like, all right, then back him up and start breaking him down. And everybody seen that. This is one of the wins where we get credit from everybody around boxing world. I remember
from people that have nothing to do with the fight.
Maidana's win over Broner. I got it was on Showtime, Golden Boy promotion. I got congratulations from people from HBO, Top Rank,
people that had nothing to do with the fight.
People calling me because they were happy.
They were just happy.
And now with Joshua Franco, being that he was such a big underdog and nobody even believed in him.
Going to another promoter show. The odds started 9-1, 750 to 1. All that. Nobody really thought he could pull it off.
I got a lot of calls from different promotions too. I got calls from.
I told you I got text messages from the guys from Matchroom, from just
I did too. Matchroom, PBC. I got calls from
the guy in Cabo didn't tell us anything
when
we got there.
We were in Cabo. We get to Cabo, and the guy's very, very kind. I'm gonna be the one taking care of you guys, whatever you guys need. I'm like,
he didn't say anything.
Give me your number. So I'm like, everything I needed. Hey, I need a van to go eat downtown. Yeah. Oh yeah, Mr. Garcia, of course. Today when we left, they picked us up from our room to go to the lobby, to the front desk to check out, and he's like, Mr. Garcia, congratulations on Franco's win.
On Franco's World Championship.
On Franco's World Championship win. I'm like, holy shit, you guys won? Oh yeah, when's your brother Mikey fighting again?
He didn't say anything the whole
I guess
time we were
I guess they're not. I guess they're probably not supposed to. They want us to feel comfortable. They want us to feel, you know, at home. They know he knew it was right after a big win, so they knew we wanted to relax. We wanted to chill without having to deal with any boxing. So he didn't ask us anything until when he was already taking us to the car. He's like, by the way, congratulations on Franco's championship win. I'm like, oh, dale, you watch the fight. Yeah. You know what? With Franco, it was fucking unbelievable. Look, when we first signed Franco and all the group that we signed with Golden Boy, when I met with Oscar De La Hoya and Eric Gomez and Robert Diaz, I told them it's a group. It's a package. It's got to be all four. And this is what I need for each of them. You know, the bonus, whatever. Bonus, monthly, purses, all that.
Amount of fights and just whatever.
Whatever. And Oscar was there. That's like the only time I've met with Oscar being part of. The rest of the times, it's always been Robert or Robert Diaz or Eric Gomez, which are, you know, I have no problem with that. We work really well, but this time Oscar was there in the meeting, and I told him, well, I wrote everything down. You were there with me, right? Yeah. So we had the numbers. This is what I need for each one of them, and it was all four. It was Tanajara, Navarro, Gamez, and Franco. They were a little like. Kind of a little skeptical about Franco, 115-pounder.
No, he was fighting at 108 in the amateurs. In the amateurs, he was 108.
Yeah, well,
so we didn't know what weight he was going to be yet. So we just said he was a 108-pounder. We said maybe 115.
So they were a little, you know, a little doubtful about signing a 115-pound, 108-pounder. They didn't really think much. They didn't really want to.
It's tough getting opponents and stuff.
You know, exactly tough. You know, getting opponents. They have to fly them out from all over the world, and it was just tough. But I told him, no, it's got to be all four. It's got to be all four. And if not, I'm going to look around. Oscar told me, Robert, if we accept what you're asking for right now, you won't go nowhere else. Try to find any better deal. And I said, no, if you agree to it right now, all we need is a handshake. And he shook my hand and we made that deal. Didn't go back to anybody else. But previous to that, I had gone to Top Rank. Yeah. I had gone to Top Rank, and same thing. It was a four fighter package, and I remember I've said it before, maybe not to the media, but this is what happened. I had already talked to Carl Moretti, Bruce, Brad, and Bruce and Brad were all interested, but then I talked to Carl, and it was when I don't remember which fight it was. I took the kids so they could meet
Crawford
Delorme
in Texas,
in Dallas, Texas. I took them all so they could meet Bob Arum. They even took pictures with Bob Arum because that was gonna be who they were gonna fight for.
Yeah.
But then, I don't know if it was a few weeks. It was in Omaha, Nebraska, on a Crawford card. Gradovich fought there against a Puerto Rican where he got a draw. Yeah. Well, to make a long story short, I noticed that that everybody was a little shy with me because I had already worked out a deal with Golden Boy. But the reason I went, I made that deal with Golden Boy because I said it was a 4-package deal, and Carl already told me the only one we're interested in is Hector Tanajara. We're not interested in the rest of the guys. I said, Carl, I told you it's a four fighter deal. It's a package, all 4. Well, good luck. We just want Tanajara. So that's when I did my deal with Golden Boy, and look, things have gone great. Honestly, with Hector, Jonathan, things are going great. And look, Franco's now world champion. So then on the Crawford card, I don't remember who Crawford fought, but Gradovich fought on that card in Omaha, Nebraska. I noticed they were all kind of weird with me. I have a good relationship with everybody at Top Rank, but everybody was kind of different. So I approached what's the name? El hijastro de Bob. Todd. I said, Todd, what's wrong? Is everything okay? I have a lot of fighters with you guys. What's wrong? Well, you took your fighters to Golden Boy. I said, do you know why? He's like, what do you mean, do I know why? You took him to Golden Boy? I'm like, no. So I explained everything to him. That same day we met, it was just me, him, and Carl. We met in the locker room, an empty locker room. And I cleared everything up with Todd. I said, Todd, in front of Carl, why is the reason I didn't bring all these guys to Top Rank? What did you tell me? That we just wanted Tanajara. So bottom line is everything got cleared up. We shook hands and everything's back to normal. I have a good relationship with them again. Same as with Golden Boy and Matchroom and PBC. Everyone. I talk to everybody about my fighters. If it's PBC for Josito Lopez right now, Matchroom with Espino. The only ones I don't talk to is Ringstar. But anyways, look, things are going great. Now we have another world champion, Joshua Franco.
They were the most skeptical one.
They were questionable about signing Franco, and he's the first one to become champion of the world. It's great, to know that he's a world champion now. He deserves it. He's a hardworking kid. His dad has worked all his life.
His little brother's next.
To say his son is a world champion, and now he's a world champion. And Bam is, I have no doubt that Bam could also become a world champion. Bam has all the skills, all the tools to become a world champion too. We also have a lot of other fighters in my gym, the Tanajara, Jonathan Navarro, who's also, with Golden Boy and getting close to bigger fights and bigger opportunities. Title fights sooner than later. So we're happy, and we are very, very, very fortunate to say that from the group that we signed 5 years ago, Joshua was the first one to become champion.
I remember when we were when you told me to go start looking at fighters that you had. I remember at that time I don't remember who it was, but you had told me, you're like, there's this guy that's been talking to me about managing fighters. He's like, he wants to invest money or something. You had told me. He's like, start looking. The national pals are going on, and you told me, like, this guy wants to invest some money into managing fighters with me. Start looking at some guys, and go to the national pals and check them out, whatever. So I go to the national pals. I think I went with De La Torre one day. I forgot who else I went with. And the fighter from that tournament that I remember seeing, I saw two, was Carlos Valderas and Hector Tanajara, and they fought each other in the finals. And Hector Tanajara won. And the day before, after he fought in the semifinals, I think he beat Isidro Ochoa. And I went to go talk to his dad a little bit. I was like, hey, your son, whatever, he looks really good, whatever. Mm-hmm. After the fight, when he won, I called you and I told you, hey, this kid Tanajara from San Antonio won the tournament. He beat Carlos Valderas from Santa Maria. We already knew the Valderas.
Yeah.
And I told you, I was like, this kid won the tournament. Like he's you know, he's good, I think, whatever. So we messaged them, and they had already left. They had already left to back. They were staying in LA. They were staying with I forgot what, who, Sam Contreras, I think it was, or I don't remember exactly who, Rudy Garcia, I think. And they're like, we left. Like, fuck, we wish we would have been able to stay. So they went back home, and I started talking to them about you know, bringing them over. You wanted to be their manager, and I remember who you said that wanted to get involved. That later said no, nothing, and you said, well, I can do it on my own now. Before that, you had most of your guys with Cameron. And Hector tells me, little Hector tells me, and I think it was Ovi. I forget who it was. It might have been Ovi or it might have been little Hector. They could tell me later who it was. They told me there's a kid that I train with and that I've trained since I was young, since I was little with. That I want to see if you guys could also help out. And I was like, okay, like and honestly, they've told us they've mentioned I forgot who. There was another kid from San Antonio at that tournament with them. I forgot the name, or I forgot exactly who it was, because there's a lot of kids in San Antonio. And they showed me videos of him too, and he was a bigger weight class, I remember. And they had a few guys that were there, and I didn't like. They were the big weight classes, 154, 165, 178. I don't remember what weight classes, and those are the ones that promoters like. And I looked and I was like, nah, I don't think these guys are, you know, that great. We want Hector. And he's like, I have this kid. He's like, but he fights at 108 pounds. And right when they say that, right away, most people are like, fuck, that's small. Like, there's not a lot you can do with that. And I was like, well, let me see, you know, whatever. And he sent me videos of Josh. And I was like, holy shit, like, this kid can fight. I was like, they sent me a fight from when he fought in an international tournament. And he dropped the guy with the body shot. And the way he threw his 1-2, I kept telling you, I was like, this reminds me of Mike. Like, he's so calm and relaxed. And then the way he threw his 1-2, because Mike kind of like dips down with it or something with that. And I was like, he throws it like Mike. But then he had a nice left hook to the body. And when we were talking about this, I talked to we were bringing it up to Big G. We're showing my grandpa some of the guys and stuff. And then we told him there's this kid that fights at 108 pounds. He's like 108. He's like, that's tough. And we told them, we're like, there's world champions at those weight classes too. Like, what's the difference? Like, there's world champs. And I remember I told him, I said, Nacho Beristain is most popular for Marquez and
Finito Lopez.
No, and we didn't say that. And I said he has Gilberto Roman and all these great world champs. I was like, but guess what? Finito was probably his best one. And what weight class was he? I was like, he was little. I was like, they have world champs at that weight class too. I was like, this kid is good and he's gonna be good. And so we signed Josh and we brought him over. Out of all the other guys from San Antonio, there was a lot of guys. There was a lot of weight classes and stuff like that. And since then, we've gotten, obviously his brother Bam came with him, Biggie. It hasn't been like, oh, everybody from San Antonio. No, it's been certain guys. And Biggie just looked good his last fight. But we get Josh and he's going through and becomes the first world champ. I don't know about you. I'm sure it's different for you, but like whenever we talk about like big wins and stuff like that, I don't like to talk about Mike because Mikey is family. So obviously those feel like a different kind of special, but I can't compare any other win to Josh's win. Like I can't. That was, I've seen it probably more than I've seen any of our other fights.
They're more like your age also. You grew up with them. You kind of, for the last 5 years that you guys hang out, you guys have become friends. More like brothers. So I think that's probably why
there hasn't been another one that I could think of that I'm like that feels the way Josh's win feels. Whenever Cumbia has been sending us the pictures that Mikey Williams took or whatever, and I look at them and it's my wallpaper now. It's Josh holding his world title, and whenever I send it to Jesse and I send him the picture, he's like, bro, can you believe that shit? Like, Josh is world champ, and he is because the WBA has Chocolatito and they have Josh. And then there's the other 3 titles, WBC, IBF, WBO. He's one of the best 5 fighters in I know we've had other world champs. Like we have Mikey, we have Jose Ramirez, we have Vergil on his way there, Bam, Hector, all these guys. Those guys aren't world champs yet, but world champs that Jose is one of the top 2 in his weight class. And Mikey's one of the best in the world and this and that. But for some reason, it feels like a little bit different. Whenever I think about it, I'm like, Josh is one of the best 5 fighters in the world in his division. And nobody will ever be able to take that away from him. It was just different.
Anyway, it's great to add another champion, but yeah, with Josh, it is special. He is one of those kids that we signed that pretty much there was not too much interest in, and now he's a world champion. Look, smaller weight division, like we said, they do have titles for them too. So why not give them an opportunity? there's trainers, and you know, a lot of people know that there is trainers that won't train any fighter that
less than a certain weight
less
class.
than a certain weight class, less than 135, less than 140. Why? Because of the paydays. That's what a lot of trainers think. Oh no, I ain't gonna waste my time with no 115, no 800 because there's no money there. Well, for us, you know, we've had Licona 105. Brian Viloria 108.
Nonito was 115, 118.
Nonito 15 at one time. Now Joshua.
Those feel just,
you know, to me, those feel just as good as anybody else. And yeah, maybe the money's not the same, but I don't care. You know, the feeling is great when you have one of those kids that very few people believe in, and very few people give you a chance to one day win a title, and now they become champions. It's awesome.
So that was this week's fights. Like I said, it was actually pretty good that we did this on Monday, and they just announced today Vergil's card, Vergil versus Samuel Vargas. It's gonna be closed to the public. The way all these fights have been.
It is 100%.
Yeah, but it's on. Well, at least that's what I understood. If it's different, then I just read it wrong, But it's Vergil versus the guy who was supposed to fight Samuel Vargas.
Right.
I remember you guys talking about, they were announcing first that Ryan was going to be the first fight back, and Oscar said, oh, he was affected. But Vergil's fight was the first one from Golden Boy that actually got canceled. It was like a week before the fight got canceled against Samuel Vargas. So now it's Friday, July 24th. They announced the co-main event, Hector Tanajara Jr. versus Mercito Gesta.
Right.
So that's Friday, July 24th. We'll start with Hector's. Hector had been
Valdez also.
Hector Valdez from Dallas, also on the undercard.
Yes.
We'll start with Hector Valdez, who came.
He was one of the sparring partners for.
He was back home.
Joshua Franco.
He was back home. He didn't have a fight right now. He was working. Hector Beltran told us, and he went and asked him if he would be willing to come help Joshua Franco, his teammate. He's gonna fight for a world title if he can come help him spar. He didn't have to. He didn't have a fight coming up, and he said, "Yeah,
of course."
And he was. I remember Hector Valdez a lot of the time, and Ronnie Rios was also a big sparring partner. He wasn't a sparring partner, but he was sparring Josh and helped out a lot. But him and his coach Hector were always like giving Josh little motivational things. Hector Valdez, a lot of the rounds, he would like be pushing Josh, and he would be telling, "Come on, let's go, champ!" And he was always calling him champ. Yeah. Whenever they're doing their workouts and stuff, everybody was calling him champ, and everybody kept saying it. But all those guys had a big part with Josh. So now he's fighting July 24th. The co-main event, Hector Tanajara versus Mercito Gesta. Tell us a little bit about that, because Hector had been offered again those Ryan Garcia fights and nothing, and then
three times
already. And then how does it happen that he gets?
Well, look, it was in January. Hector fought January 10, I think it was, in San Antonio.
Yeah, one of those.
On Munguia's card. Like a couple of weeks before, I was told, "Do you guys want to wait till February to fight Ryan Garcia?" I said, "100%, let's do it." So we agreed, but never heard anything. Was never told that the fight was done. So we went and did our fight January 10 in San Antonio. Then for the July 4th, it was even close. It was as close to where we even negotiated a purse. We had already agreed to a purse for Hector, so I thought that was already a done deal.
Yeah, when it gets to the purses,
when it gets to the point where you're already negotiating the purse, then it's pretty much a done deal. We had already agreed to a purse, and everything was already set to be Hector Tanajara versus Ryan Garcia, but
it's on their part. Something
happened where the fight didn't happen. Ryan came out saying that he wasn't going to fight for
less than
250, whatever it was. I think at this point we've talked about it before. We've talked about Shakur, who is already a world champion. We've talked about all these world champions, Vergil, Navarrete, who are already world champions. They're taking smaller fights, cuts in their paydays, just to stay busy, stay active. People could see you on TV. But Ryan chose not to.
And it's also nothing like Ryan doesn't he has a choice where Shakur and them chose to fight in 10-round fights. Yes. So they were okay with it. but it's also, I don't think it's too crazy for some of these guys to say no. I don't want to, like, I'd rather wait because they've gotten to the point where Crawford's saying the same thing. Jose has had to wait a little bit longer. They get to the point where they're making a certain amount of money. They don't want to go backwards. They don't want to go backwards. So
no, so I'm not blaming Ryan, but due to that,
we didn't get the fight.
We didn't get that fight, but we also benefited because now 3 of our guys are fighting on the first card back. Vergil's the main event. Vergil wasn't
scheduled for the first card.
It was going to be Ryan Garcia, but now that Ryan didn't take it, we jumped on that opportunity. Vergil's dad was already training his son back home. They come to training camp here in Riverside, and they're ready whenever they knew it was going to be them. So
Hector was already here training.
Hector was already here training. Valdez has already been training and sparring with Joshua Franco. So it benefited us because now it's going to be pretty much our card.
Yeah.
Golden Boy's first fight back is going to be pretty much 3 RGBA fighters.
So that's July 24th. Hector Tanajara, Mercedo Gesta, Vergil versus Samuel Vargas. We'll get more into detail with the fights next week. We'll do a show where we have Vergil and Hector. I think this Friday when Cumbia comes to gym, we could probably go live. We could probably go live this Friday with Vergil and with Tanajara. Right. We'll go into more detail on those fights. Another fight that was announced for August 28th was Linares versus Fortuna. A good fight. Both guys, a little bit older, but in even fights for the WBC, like Diamond or something at 135.
Yeah, that's a good fight.
But a little bit about that one was, okay, so Vergil's fight, we knew about Vergil's fight for weeks already. We're actually in the locker room for Biggie's fight. And when I think someone from Golden Boy had told you about maybe Ryan going August 28th now or something like that. What do you guys think about that?
That's the third time.
That was the third time. What do you guys think about Hector? And you told me, and I said no. I was like, you at first you were saying, we could probably wait another 4 weeks. Gives Hector more time, and we could get a Ryan Garcia fight. And we thought about it for a little bit. I remember I even called Chepe, and to ask him what he thought. I told him what I thought, and I'll say it right now. And then to what you had said, and we all agreed that at that point it was no, we're not gonna wait anymore. Like it's already the third time. It's Hector getting pushed another 4 weeks. We had already agreed that Mercedo Gesta was a perfect opponent for Hector in the co-main event.
Great fight.
It's a good fight. It wouldn't, like, for what at this point? Wait another 4 weeks, and what if Ryan has another tantrum with Oscar De La Hoya, and something stupid happens again, and they don't have it. And look what happens. Now Ryan's not even fighting August 28th anymore. We said Hector co-main event, and then now Hector's on the spot. So it's a lot of like weird stuff that was going on with Golden Boy and Ryan, because it's another date that he was supposed to get offered, and for whatever reason.
And I was told again if I wanted to wait
and we said no
for August to fight Ryan Garcia. And I brought it up to you, and you said, no, let's not do that anymore. It's already, well, how do we know that's going to happen?
Yeah, I told you, how do we know that's going to happen? I was like, Hector's also a fighter that's signed with Golden Boy. Hector has a career that we have to look after too. We're not going to wait for Ryan. Like, oh yeah, let's wait for him. Wait for Ryan to, whenever he wants to fight, we'll fight. Or whenever he's ready. Okay, yeah, we're right there waiting for him to say yes. No, Hector has his career that we that we need him. We need him fight. He hasn't fought since January also. So those fights got announced for July 24th and August 28th. The first fights for DAZN. Eddie Hearn announced his card. The main event, right? Yeah. The main event is Julio Cesar Martinez. Yeah. Always
it's in Oklahoma.
It's in Oklahoma. I saw some people on Twitter talking about how there were shows that were already put in Oklahoma. I don't know if they had fans or not, so it kind of made sense that Eddie Hearn would go there. I don't remember who exactly. I should have screenshot and give the guy credit. That there was already some fights going on in Oklahoma, but yeah. So those are the fights that got announced right now. Finally, DAZN is finally coming back, because at first it's only been Top Rank so far. Now DAZN's getting in with Golden Boy, with Matchroom. PBC I think has announced some fights for Fox. Not official yet, but there's been it looks like they've been talking about it. So those are the topics that we had this week. We talked about all the fights that happened, talked about upcoming fights. Like I said, this Friday we will be going live. This time we will for sure be going live this Friday to talk about Vergil and Hector's fight. We'll have them.
The fight this week.
Yeah, the fight. We'll talk about tomorrow's fights. Who's the main event tomorrow?
I think it's Cholo, no?
Tomorrow, Cholo Salcedo. Thursdays is not too sure about Thursdays.
¿No es el puertorriqueño?
Did they switch it? Oh yeah, they switched it to July 2nd. Yeah. So we'll have more about that on Friday with the live and stuff. But we'll go into some fan questions. I know we didn't do them last week. I was supposed to ask questions for Big G, but all we did was start one, and then it just kept going and going. So I didn't get to answer a lot of the questions. So a lot of the questions were for Big G, but I'm sure he answered a lot of them anyways with the way we were talking. But I screenshotted some of the other ones that people had sent. So the first question was from Pillar Miller Stiller. Oh shit. Love the show, guys. If you could train any fighter in history, who would it be?
Any fighter in history?
Yeah.
Man, probably just to learn a little bit from him. Somebody like Alex Arguello. You know, Canizales.
You always talk about Orlando Canizales.
Orlando Canizales, one of my favorite fighters.
Each one of them, what are the reasons? Because I'm sure there's different reasons for each one that you like about the fighter.
I love Canizales' footwork, his angles, pivot to the sides and land punches. I just loved it, and I tried it a few times in my fights, and it actually worked pretty good. Sometimes, you know, not as good as Canizales did, but it was. I love the way he fought. Very, very, very.
You always talk about his little sidestep
and punches. Yeah, I really like that. You know, it's Arguello, just a monster, man. Just a hell of a fighter, man. Always in good shape. Always in great shape. Another one, you know, Salvador Sanchez. Salvador Sanchez, you know, how much I would learn from those guys just to train my fighters now, you know, to be able to go 15 rounds without opening their mouth. Yeah. It would be insane.
Stop Zuma Nelson like the 14th round.
Just to know that I'm part of the training camp, it would have been awesome.
The next one was Jason Mark OX805. Did anyone place any money on the underdog Franco plus 300 odds in Vegas? It was actually up to plus 750, and everybody made a shit.
Everybody made a lot of money. I never put money on my own fighters. I never have. That's something I always have in my. I'm never gonna do that with any of my fighters, but it would have been a perfect moment to do it, man. We were, you know, so sure, confident. So confident that he was going to become champion. Everybody else made a lot of money, you know, Payo, Chepe, George, everybody made a lot of money, you know.
Renee,
everybody made a lot of money, you know. That was the time to make a lot of money.
Yeah, because like we kept saying, the closer the fight got, we saw the odds, and Chepe wanted to bet 5,000. Everybody was trying to bet big money because we saw what we were seeing. We knew what we were seeing in the gym, like we knew what Josh could do. But yeah, we had a lot of guys make a lot of money. The next question from Stacy Gaitan. She's one of the ones that last week had questions for Big G. But again, they were specifically for Big G, so we couldn't do that. Robert, what does it mean to you to have reached this goal with Josh being world champ? He is one of the RGBA fighters that the entire Garcia family has played a role in with. You, Big G, Mikey, Pita, all had something to do with Josh's career. What is it like, you know?
Well, look, it's like I told you, like I've said it before, you know, guys that we bring from the amateurs to the pros, from their pro debut to world champions, those are the great feelings. And you know, being the smaller weight divisions, like we said earlier a few minutes ago, it's not because they're the ones making all the money, but the feeling is crazy. It's unbelievable. And you know, everybody, Mikey to my dad, everybody have played a you know, big part of him becoming champion. Brandon Rios also. Remember, Brandon Rios was always high on this kid. I always said he was like his little brother, and said, you know, one day.
Brandon was the first person to FaceTime you when I got back to the locker room.
Is that right?
Josh wasn't even in there yet. I remember we got to the locker room, and as soon as I opened it, Jesse was already waiting right there, and he gave me a hug or whatever, and then I looked at my phone. I pulled out my phone. I knew it was gonna have a bunch of messages. Pulled out a bunch of messages and text and Instagram and WhatsApp and whatever. But boom, right away, FaceTime call Brandon Rios, and I answered. And I was like, Brandon, he's not here yet. He's like, all right, FaceTime me when he gets there. Yeah. And then she also had a question for me. She's like, Pita, what are your goals as a coach? And do you feel any pressure because of the legacy your family has built? I don't have any specific goals. Like, I want to do 5 world champs, or I want to do this by myself. No, I just enjoy it. I just like, you know, being at the gym with all the guys, helping them. All the reward is paid off on Tuesday for Josh. After the fights, when they get a win, all the like we've said, it's been 5 years, like a little bit over 5 years that we've been with Josh, and like you said, he's lost. He had the 2 draws, and it's been up and down. You know, some tough times that he had, or you know, but on Tuesday, everything paid off. Like there was, you know, that's what these guys work for, and me, all I want to do is just help them, for all of them to get to that point that Josh got to, for all of them to win world titles. That's really pretty much it. Do I feel any pressure? No, no, there's no pressure. It's just it's what we do. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to do anything else. I don't know anything else. Like this is what everybody in our family kind of understands and knows. So there's really no pressure. I would say. Enor, the next question, Enor_437. Congrats on the huge win with Josh. Robert, with so many fighters and so many demands on your time, how much time do you devote to film study and game planning for an opponent for a fight like Josh's, who just won? Or do you more so just let the fighters do their thing in the ring?
Look, I have a, you know, it's not just myself, you know, my son, my dad, the fighters themselves, Chepe, we're all part of, you know, studying and coming up with a game plan. With in this case with Josh, it wasn't just me, you know, it was Pita, Chepe, everybody watching the fights, and everybody giving their own opinion and pretty much putting the game plan together. You know, it's teamwork, you know.
But then also I think everybody kind of putting in the team the game plan ahead of it. But it also, like she said, or he said, do you guys just kind of more so let them kind of do it in the fight? We just kind of you just switched it up. You said let's back them up.
Look, we were thinking nothing. We were gonna have to use a lot of angles, move around, or circle to your left a lot because of his left hook to the body. That was kind of the game plan. He was doing it, but then in the fight, you know, after 2-3 rounds, we're like, let's back him up, block, keep your hands up, but let's back him up, start breaking him down. So we had to change the game plan. So it's, you know, he was in great shape to do whatever it took, and we made that decision after a couple of rounds going into the fight, and everything worked out good.
I know I remember when Margarito and Brandon were gonna fight Pacquiao, you used to get like the DVDs and stuff, and you used to sit there and pull and play and watch. Now you do it on your laptop and stuff like that, but you do watch a lot of like film going into, especially those big fights like that. What
I try to do is, in this case with Joshua Franco, I didn't see one full Maloney fight. No. I didn't see one full Maloney fight. I seen clips. I seen the best things that he does, and also seen things that he does wrong. And that's, you know, through you watching most of the fight, showing me the times where he's been hurt, you know, like a couple of times that he got hurt by uppercuts, or the times when he's hurting his opponents. So I try to see the good things, but also the things that
capitalize on,
that we could use against them. I didn't finish one fight from the first round to the end at all. Never did. It was more clips of different things, because inside the ring, you know, he's fighting a different fighter to all the fighters that he's had. It's a first title defense, so he's prepared himself different. He also has a game plan, so it's not like we're gonna have the same guy that got beat or that beat that other guy when he became champion. No, it was just, I just try to see his good things, but also I also see things that he does wrong, so I could use it in the fight.
That was the last question I grabbed from Instagram. Anything else you wanted to add?
Well, that's
we went over everything, Josh. Yeah, Vergil. Again, sorry for not being able to go live. We had a few problems. One more thing,
that kid, we just have to, you know, send our condolences to the kid that died, Rosito.
Oh yeah. We just had it with the 21-year-old.
It wasn't in a fight. It was cancer. It was cancer. But, you know, he was an undefeated kid, 15-0. We just want to send our condolences to his family. Descanse en paz, Rosito, por su familia, nuestras condolencias. ¿Qué puedo decirles? Lo siento mucho y pues sigan adelante, estén fuertes y todo pasa por una cosa. Diosito sabe lo que hace.
So that does it for this week's show. Yeah, like I was saying, I'm sorry. We're sorry we couldn't go live again. We will this Friday with Hector and Vergil, so you guys could send in your guys' questions at Garcia Boxing if you guys have any for those two going into their fights. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Robert Garcia Unfiltered. We'll see you guys on Friday live, and we'll be back again Sunday again live. So you guys could be sending in your questions again at Garcia Boxing. Thank you guys.